शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्ज सम्भावितललाटकम् हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजम्। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யகம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. வாகர்த்தாபிவ சம்பிருக்தௌ வாகர்த்த பிரதிபத்தயே ஜகதः பிதரௌ வந்தே பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வரௌ. ஸ்ரீ பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வராभ्यां நமः. कोमलं पूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन्। हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं। नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैर्नभ्यर्थितानपि अर्थान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयम्। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं। श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशी विभूषितकरात् नवनीरधाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने. കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഇതിനു മഞ്ഞാനെ കുമ്പിടേണ്ടാത്തോരു രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കുന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Welcome everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the journey, 2-year journey. So excited to have you all here. So like I said in the WhatsApp message, we'll start sharp at 7. So today I give it a few minutes, for first class. what we'll do today is I'm just going to quickly go around and then you all can introduce. Not many of you know each other. So we just do a very quick introduction. Just tell your name, where you're calling in from, and then any connection you have to Narayaneeyam if you have anything. Otherwise, it's okay. I'm just going to literally go from the sequence I'm seeing. And then I'm going to give a background on Narayaneeyam itself. Not many of you may know the context around it. I'm going to give you a little bit of the history and background, and then we'll start with our Dashakam one for today. Okay. So with that, Shalini, I see you on the top left first.
Yeah, Rajesh Garu. Hello, everyone. My name is Shalini Kandamuri, and I'm actually from Chicago. I live in Vernon Hills, and I've been a student of Rajesh Garu, learned Devi Mahatmyam from him, and I'm looking forward learning Narayaniyam. My mom is already learning this, and she kind of inspired me to join this class. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you and learning this. And I'm sure this is going to be a great journey. I really love Lord Vishnu. He's my favorite god. So that's another reason too. Thank you, Rajesh Garu.
Absolutely, Shalini. Thanks, Shalini. Bhuvana Mahesh.
Hello, everyone. This is Bona Mahesh. I live in Carpentersville. I don't know how many of you have heard of this town. This is very close to Algonquin. So I've heard a lot about Mr. Rajesh. A lot of my friends have learned Narayaniyam, and it is always, I wanted to do it, but I wasn't very sure of the time commitment and all that. But finally, it is Avan Arulale, Avan Tal Vanangi. I think it's his calling. So I decided to join, and I'm very excited, and I look forward to this session.
Thanks, Bhuvana. Lakshmi.
Hello, namaste everyone. This is Lakshmi Gunda. I am from Houston, Texas. So I just completed Devi Mahatmyam last week with Rajesh Garu. It was a great journey. I was very skeptical with all the time commitment and everything, but I made through Devi Mahatmyam and I was like, yeah, I find it very encouraging. So I just wanted to start this journey. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rajesh Garu.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Harish.
Good morning, all. Hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Harish from Buffalo Grove. Namaskaram, Vatsalamami. Again, I'm very happy to call myself friends or family with Rajesh ji. And was with Rajesh ji on the previous class, just finished, just like Lakshmi said. And I loved the way you started, Bhuvana, that said, Avan Arulale Avan Tangi. Avan Tal Tangi. Thanks for those lovely words. This brought a smile to my ears. Avan Arulale, Avan Tal Tangi. I'm here today. I hail from a town that's 1.5, 2 hours away from Guruvayur. So I was born and brought up with Krishna in the background, right? And my family was well into the Krishna chants and devotions, and my mom was well versed in Narayaniyam. And here I am starting that journey, hopefully able to carry the legacy along and continue the devotion and the journey there. Thank you, Rajesh ji. Thank you, group.
Thanks. I always prefer when there are more men in the class. I never have men exceeding women, but at least I'm glad there's one or two, I think, in this class. Normally, there's like at least 3 or 4 men in the class. So if you know any men, I would really appreciate if they could join as well. There's nothing about only, it's not singing. I'm not a singer either. So this is more like chanting than singing. So people don't have to be worried about it. Maha.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Mahalakshmi. Everybody calls me Mahi. Anything is fine with me. I'm from, I don't know Tamil. I'm from Telugu background. So I live in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. So being Telugu, we are not familiar with the Narayaniyam. Last year, my mom was here. She was chanting. Last year, I learned Soundar Lahari, but I was like very drawn to Narayaniyam when she was chanting. I asked her like, okay, please give me the book. I want to learn. I tried to start the Dasakam by myself, but it's a little bit hard. But God sent me the way a Guruji when I was interested in that. My friend Sita told me, you want to learn Narayaniyam because we were talking and she told me that there is a class is starting. So yeah, I think this is the calling for me. to learn Narayaneeyam this year. Yep, I'm very much interested in that. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mahi. Vatsala Mami.
Good morning, everybody. I'm one of the longest residents, Indian residents in Chicago, I think. We live in Glendale Heights, and I had been interested in learning this from Rajesh for a long time. So when the thing opened up, I wanted to sign right away. Looking forward to learning the verses. May not be able to say it correctly because being a Tamilian, we always have some glitches in the pronunciation, but we'll do my best.
Thanks, Mami. Happy to have you on.
Thank you.
Bhuvana, Chitra.
Hello, I'm Bhuvana Chitra Narsimhan. I just finished Devi Mahatmyam with Rajesh ji. One thing I want to say is like he made it so easy. We were able to recite and able to chant it very quickly. So he made it, I don't know, he has some magic. So I'm excited to be in the journey of Narayaniyam. Thank you.
Thanks, Bhuvana. Abhirami.
Hello, Radhe Krishna. My name is Abhirami. I live in Buffalo Grove area. I'm a school math tutor. It's fun to teach and to learn. So I'm excited in this learning process because it's been very long that I sat down as a student to learn something, and I'm very, very, very excited to do that. I've done some work before, like just small stuff, just reading by myself online and like just asking my father to teach me something. But this will be like typically like one guru Sishya session. And especially, I think Narayaniyam, I wanted to learn only because like I feel like it's a healing journey for everyone. And like I want, இப்போ எங்க ஆத்துல நாராயணியம் கேட்க போறது like everybody in the home is going to listen to it. So it'll be a great healing journey for everyone. And honestly speaking, the first time I ever went to Guruvayur temple was when I got married with my husband because their family deity is in Palakkad, and then they took me there. So I'm just bringing back that memory of little Guruvayurappan. I wish he is there as picture in my home, but I wish he is listening to me right now, like making this. Probably I don't know. It was like I had a thought about just Guruvayurappan I mean, when I went to the temple, it was all about a child, right? I had Seshadri in my home, and I think I forgot many things about being him as young boy. And I remember worshipping him for a boy child, and I have him at home. I think I should appreciate him more. So these are like a lot of small things coming together for me when I'm learning this. Thank you so much. I wish we all learn together and get his blessings. Thank you.
Thanks, Abhirami. Ratiji.
Good morning, all of you. I'm Rati. I stay in Buffalo Grove. I've been wanting to learn Narayaniyam from Rajesh ji for a long time. So I'm really very excited to be part of this journey and to meet all of you. I really look forward to this experience. Thank you so much.
Kalpana.
Good morning, Guruji. Good morning, everyone. I am from Aurora, Illinois. So last year I came to Lemon Temple on August 17 when I have seen everyone reciting Narayaniyam. So I thought, Guruji, can you please teach us that? So it was the first time. I never knew Narayaniyam. I'm from a Telugu background, as earlier Mahalakshmi ji said it. So we don't know Narayaniyam much. So that is when I asked Guruji, and I'm just 2 weeks back I started learning Saundarya Lahari, and it's like I feel so happy to learn Saundarya Lahari and Narayaniyam at like in the same year. So I feel happy and I'm looking forward to learn Narayaniyam. Jai Shri Narayana.
Thanks, Kalpana. Srilata Garu.
Wait.
Srilata Garu, you're on mute.
Sorry. Namaste, everyone. Thank you, Rajesh ji, for giving me chance to learn from your opportunity. Actually, the like 12 years back, somebody gave me a book for the Devi Mahatyam, Durga Shaptashati. That was in India, one of our neighbors in a spiritual event. I was thinking, what shall I do? Yes, it is there. And finally, the day came when I got learned from Meera. So then, since then, Fridays I'm joining and chanting, and she is a very good teacher. And ever since I heard that Rajesh is teaching Narayaniyam, immediately I thought, okay, like 4 years back, one of my aunt gave me the Narayaniyam book. And then I thought, okay, this book came to me. What shall I do? When am I going to get chance to learn? And when I heard that news that, okay, he's teaching, then immediately I pinged him. And then now the time has come. So every week I'm hoping, besides our work stress and whatever the busy schedule, pull myself, my body in front of the laptop, learn it. It's a good discipline away from the busy world, learn something good that takes us in the spiritual journey and learning the meaning as well, though, I think. Yeah,
Yep.
thank you so much.
Thanks, Shilita garu. Geeta Prakash.
Hello, everyone. I'm Geeta Prakash. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. I want to thank Rajesh ji. It is such a coincidence that last weekend he was here in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, for Narayaneeyam recitation, and it felt like it was God sent. I just got an opportunity to request him, and this is my first time learning from Rajesh ji, and it is nice to meet you all, and I'm looking forward. I can resonate from most of the people what they said. I don't want to repeat the same thing. I'm from Palakkad, and I have Narayaneeyam background. I've heard my aunts and my mom recite Narayaneeyam almost every day, so it's still ringing in my ears. So I'm hoping to learn it in the right way and recite it regularly. Thank you, Rajesh ji.
Absolutely. So, right when we took the break last week after the Parayanam in between, and
Yeah.
Geeta was just thinking about it, and then we just happened to bump into each other, and she said, can you teach me?" So it was like the perfect timing, right in front of Vishnu Sannidhi in the Milwaukee temple. So, blessed opportunity, Geeta, to have you as well.
Yo, thank you, Rajesh. It just so happened that Guru Ayyappan, I was just praying. I said, "Can you, Guru Ayyappa, I just want to learn this. Where am I going to find the teacher? How are you going to bless me?" And there he blesses me right away within a couple of minutes when I heard you are going to teach, and I came forward to ask you, "Can you teach me?" And thank you so much. I really feel blessed.
Thanks. Shreya.
Hi everyone, my name is Shreya. From Buffalo Grove and I'm a freshman in high school. I just completed Devi Mahatyam last week from my dad, so I decided to join Narayaneeyam as well before I go to college. And I'm excited to meet you all and be on this journey.
Gomati.
Namaskaram, Rajeshji, and Namaskaram, everyone. I'm also very thrilled and I resonate with all the things that all of you have mentioned. And I've been part of the Devi Mahatmyam class, which just ended. So, not only about Devi Mahatmyam, I have learned a lot from Rajeshji, which is what I want to continue. Honestly, I'm telling you, I think there is so much. And I'm just feeling so blessed that this is happening right after we finish Devi Mahatmyam, this journey to continue, the association. I just want the satsanga to continue. So, and one more thing is I'm from Jersey and very close to Guruvayurappan temple. So that's another thing. I want everyone to take this as an opportunity and, reach out to him, come to Guruvayurappan temple and take his blessings.
Thanks, Gomati. If you're ever visiting Morganville, Gomati lives 5 minutes from the temple there.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Chintamani.
Yes, my name is Chintamani Annamalai. I live in Chicago, Naperville. Right now, I am in India. That's why I was confusing. I sent the message yesterday. Sorry, I missed the class. Then I realized, oh my God, it is Sunday evening, Sunday morning. Then I realized myself. I met Rajesh last year in Lamont Temple. I asked him, I want to join your class. He said, okay, whenever I group the new class, I will let you know. I thought maybe he forgot me almost a year. Maybe he didn't join me. I was thinking about that. Then suddenly I saw Narayaneeyam Tan joining the group. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to join Rajesh class. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chintamani. Indraji. Indraji, if you want to unmute yourself. Okay. She's from, I met her at Geeta Mandalam, so she's a Malayali as well. And I'm not sure if you're able to unmute and introduce, but it's okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. I think, many of you have been teaching out to me since last year, but like I said, I have a class on Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and afternoon. So that's like I have to wait for that batch to get over before we start a new one. So anyway, so we'll get started. So what I'm going to do today, right? Since all of you work probably and are used to PowerPoints, PowerPoint. So I'm going to start with a quick introduction, right? So I'm just going to share my screen and give you a quick background on this. So hopefully you're able to see my screen. Okay. So, before we get on this journey, right, I think each of you have different backgrounds. You heard about it in different ways, right? But the question that always comes, with natural for everybody to ask, because everything in Sanatana Dharma always starts with a question. So the question always is, how did this Narayaneeyam come about, right? That's the first question. Second is, who's the person who wrote it? Why did he compose it? What is the background behind it? And number three is, little bit of the punya, what is the benefit of chanting this as well, right? Which is a natural question to ask. So we'll kind of quickly go through this. About 10-15 minutes I'm going to take to kind of go through this. So you all know Mahabharata, so it's easy for me to start from there, right? So if you kind of look at the tail end of the Mahabharata journey, right, where Abhimanyu is there, so it's the son of Arjuna, and Abhimanyu gets stuck in the Chakravyuha, all of that stuff. So to at the end of the Mahabharata war, after Duryodhana is wounded and everything, so at that time Ashwatthama is still alive, and the Ashwatthama, what he does is he goes and kills the Upa Pandavas, the people, the children of the Pandavas who are actually still there. He thought it was the Pandavas. So now the Upa Pandavas are dead. So he then says, I want to destroy the entire Pandava clan. So he actually sends out, two astrams. One, he aims at the Pandavas, the Pancha Pandavas. And then the second one, he does a very targeted aim into the womb of Uttara, who is Arjuna's daughter, right? So the Abhimanyu's wife. So when he does this, when Ashwatthama sends the thing, first of all, Krishna is just beginning to leave for Dwaraka after the war. So he goes and first protects the Pandavas, right? So he prevents that Astra from affecting the Pandavas. Now, Uttara, Abhimanyu's wife, is the last person who's holding any child in the lineage of Pandavas. So if her Garbham gets destroyed, then there's no more Pandava lineage after the five of them, right? So Krishna then goes inside the womb of Uttara to the size of a thumb, right? And then he has his full form along with the Sudarshana Chakram, and then he protects the fetus of Uttara. Then later on, the child is born who is called as Parikshit. So the name is called Parikshit because the child saw Bhagavan inside the womb of the mother. And then since then, he's been on the journey to find out who is that person who actually saved me. So he's always been questioning himself, right? Every person he meets. So that is one name for Parikshit. Other name for meaning for Parikshit is Ikshata, means to see. Pari means around. So he saw Bhagavan around him, circling him all over. Anyway, so Parikshit is born. So Parikshit was a great king because he's in the lineage of the Pandavas. He's blessed by Bhagavan. He rules very well. At some point, in his future, he makes a mistake. So once he goes hunting and then he gets very thirsty, very hungry, and then he goes to the hermitage of a sage there. And then he goes and requests for some food. Now, Parikshit very well knows sage is in meditation. He's not going to respond. He's not going to talk, but somehow fate, right? So Parikshit, then what he gets very frustrated, and out of his anger, what he does is a dead snake which is actually lying there. So he takes up the dead snake and then he puts it around the neck of that rishi, and Parikshit just goes back to his kingdom. Later on, Parikshit, he realizes the mistake he made, right? Like, how can somebody, a great king, do something like this? But anyway, it was too late. He had already done it. Later on, that sage's son, who is a Brahmana boy, he comes, his name is Shringin, and he comes in and then he sees this dead snake around his father's neck, and he gets very upset. And he comes to know that the great king Parikshit ended up doing it. So he then puts a curse on Parikshit. He says that Parikshit, in 7 days, you're going to be bit by Takshaka, who's the head of snakes, and then you're going to die. Now, if none of us know when anything is going to happen to us, but if you are ever blessed to know that you are going to be dying in 7 days or 1 month or any time from now, we always all have a bucket list of things to do, right? We say, I want to go visit this place, I want to do all of these things. But Parikshit had different intentions, right? He said, I only have 7 days to live, so I need to figure out how I get liberated in 7 days. Now, how is it possible to get liberated in 7 days? But then he was very determined about it, right? So because he was very determined about it, he came across a great person called Shukabramam. The Shukabramam is the son of Veda Vyasa. So when Veda Vyasa compiled all the Vedas, right? He initially compiled all the Vedas, and he was still not happy because he said not everybody has access to the Vedas, right? Women may not be able to chant it, it's very hard. And that's why he had to even break it into four because it's too hard. And then he composed Mahabharata because he said Mahabharata is for everybody. Everybody can chant. It has Bhagavad Gita right in the center there. So it is accessible for everybody. But despite composing Mahabharata, Vyasa was not happy. So at that time, Narada comes and tells Vyasa that the problem with all of these things that you've composed, including the Vedas, including the Mahabharata, is the bhakti element is not in the center of that. It becomes a rote, right? People are just chanting Vedas, people are reading Mahabharata, they're seeing the story, but the bhakti element is completely missing in it. So he says you have to write something with putting the Bhagavan in the center of everything that you're actually talking about. So there he then comes and compiles a Srimad Bhagavatam, which is one of the big Puranas, which is having 18,000 stanzas, and it is all about bhakti. It talks about a lot of things, but of course it's got bhakti in the center, it's got Krishna in the center of it, and then he compiles the Bhagavatam, and then he gives that information to Shukabramam, now who is his son, who is the person sitting there in blue. Now, the Shukabramam, when Parikshit was out there wondering, what do I do? He then bumps into Shukabramam because he's out there seeking knowledge. The guru is naturally going to come. So Shukabramam comes, and in 7 days, Shukabramam recites the entire Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit, and Parikshit actually gets liberated, right? So that is the important context because that Srimad Bhagavatam has got 18,000 stanzas. It is just extremely long. It is very hard. It's got a lot of things. It's not easy for people to learn. I'm teaching it for 30 people right now. It's going to take us 10 years to just learn that, right? So what do you do for people who don't have 10 years to learn or who cannot commit to 10 years, right? So one of the blessings that happened was, now we're going to fast forward. So all of that happened in 3500 BC. So now we're going to come to 1560, right? In 1560 AD, in the Kali Yugam right now, was a person born called Bhattatri, Narayana Bhattatri. So he was born in the Kerala region in the north on the banks of the Bharatapuzha River, if you know where that is. There's a place called Melpattur, which is an Agraharam. So this person is born there. And this person, he was born in a Nambudri family, right? So he's, of course, very knowledgeable from the beginning. He learns all the Vedas. At 16 years, he's a big scholar. And he starts compiling a lot of things. He's a very strong mathematician. So very strong in mathematics, very strong in Sanskrit, has learned all these Vedas and everything. But like anything, right? At youth, he then gets distracted. So he gets married, and the head of his wife's family was a famous astrologer. So one day, Bhattatri, who was like 16 or 17, that person had all that Rasi Chakra laid on the ground. And Bhattatri, still being a youth, he came and then he jumps over that Rasi Chakra. So at that time, that person gets very disturbed. He says, like you are born in the Nambudri family, you are supposed to know all these traditions and rules. How can you kind of waste your life, right? Instead of being focused, you are kind of giving up everything. So that kind of triggers Bhattatri. So he then makes that person, Achyuta Pisharati, his guru. Now, after some time, that guru gets rheumatoid arthritis and he's not able to move. So Bhattatri says that, you have been my guru, you have given me all the knowledge I need, right? And then I don't want you suffering. So what he does is, through mantra and tantra margam, he takes over the disease onto himself. I don't know how, but he does it, right? So his guru no longer has rheumatoid arthritis, but Bhattatri at a very young age now has rheumatoid arthritis, because of which, all the knowledge he has, he's not able to move his hands, he's not able to move his legs, he's not able to walk, he's just completely stationary, right? So he then says, where do I go to then get healed? Right? So that is a question that he's thinking. And then he decides to go to Guruvayur. Now, why does Bhattatri go to Guruvayur? So I'm going to rewind back to the story where we left on the Parikshit thing. So after Parikshit's death, right, after when Takshaka comes and bits him, Parikshit gets liberated because he learned Srimad Bhagavatam, he heard it. Parikshit's son, called Janame Jayan, he comes to know how his father passed away, that Takshaka came and bit his father. So he then does a Sarpa Yajnam, where when they do the Yajnam, snakes all over the world come and fall into the fire, right? It just pulls all the snakes and then it kills the snakes. So he starts doing it. And when he does it, lot of the snakes come and fall, but Takshaka was yet to come. So before that happens, all the rishis are going and telling him, why are you going and killing all these snakes? One snake bit your father. Now you are going and committing so much sin by killing all these snakes. So they told him to stop doing that yajna there. And then he stops it. But because he had killed so many innocent snakes, he gets a skin disease. Janime Jayan. So he gets a skin disease and then he's not able to move anywhere. So he's also stationary. So what Janime Jayan does is he knows the Sthala Puranam of Guruvayur. He knows how Guruvayur was established and the idol, which is actually in Guruvayur, which I'll talk about in a minute. So he says, I am going to go to Guruvayur back in 3500, 3000 BC. He says, I'm going to go to Guruvayur and I'm going to heal myself. So Janame Jayan goes there and then he heals. So Bhattatri now is thinking, if Janame Jayan, who has committed so many sins and had this disease, went to Guruvayur and he got healed, I am only doing a good thing by taking on this rheumatoid arthritis from a guru. So I should be able to go to Guruvayur and get healed as well. So that is the reason Bhattatri goes to Guruvayur, and that's one of the strength, of the Puranam there. So he goes there, and then he's suffering right now, right? And then he doesn't know what to do. So he then meets a very famous scholar and a philosopher called as Ramanuja Ezhutachan. So he goes to that person and then he says, what do I do? Right? I have to get over this rheumatoid arthritis. So he tells him, Meena Tottu Kutuga. He says, start with the fish. Bhattatri comes from a Nambudri family. So he knows that he doesn't eat fish, but he gets the significance of what he's telling, right? So which means to describe all the avatarams of Bhagavan. So what Bhattatri does is he's a scholar. He knows Srimad Bhagavatam very well, 18,000 stanzas. So he takes those 18,000 stanzas of Srimad Bhagavatam, condenses it very beautifully into 1036 stanzas of Narayaneeyam. And I think if any of you, if you work and then you're trying to say, how do I create an executive summary of anything? This is a classic example. Because everything that is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhattatri has condensed it and given it in Narayaneeyam. So it starts all the way from the creation of the cosmos. It starts with the definition of what is Brahman, how the cosmos comes about, talks about all the avatarams of Bhagavan, with Krishna Avataram being the primary one. So more than 50% of it is dedicated to Krishna Avataram. And then it again talks a lot about the philosophy end of, like very similar to Bhagavad Gita, of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. But it really centers around Bhakti Yoga more than any of the other things. So that's what he does. So he compiles one Dashakam a day for 100 days. And then finally, at the end of on the 100th day, he gets completely cured. He gets the darshan of Bhagavan, and then he gets completely cured. So that is kind of the quick background of how Narayana Bhattatri goes about compiling Narayaneeyam there. And this one, like I said, is because it's a condensation of what is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. The first 9 skandams of Bhagavatam are the first 36 chapters of Narayaneeyam Dashakams, which talks about creation, talks about all the avatarams still there. And then from 37 to 88, Dashakam is everything about Krishna Avataram. It goes into excruciating detail about everything that happens in Krishna Avataram, every incident that happens in Krishna Avataram. And then towards the end is a wrap up with a lot of the other philosophical stuff. So, like I said, it's primarily focused on Bhakti Yoga. That's the core essence through all these stories. It is really trying to drive devotion towards Bhagavan, right? That's the primary intent of all of this. So specifically coming, just one other quick thing of the idol which is in Guruvayur itself, right? So the idol, and we're going to see a little bit of that as we go into the class as well, is this was an idol which was originally worshipped by Brahma, and then later on was worshipped by Kashyapa and Aditi when Vamana Avataram happened. and then later on was worshipped by Vasudeva and Devaki during Krishna Avataram. That same idol was with Krishna in Dwaraka, and then finally, when the end came in Dwaraka, Krishna then tells his best friend Uddhava to say, "You have to go protect this idol." So Uddhava, who's a big, a student of Brihaspati, so Guru, so he has his idol with him, right? So the entire Dwaraka is destroyed right now. He has his idol of Mahavishnu right now, Chaturbhujam. And then he says, what do I do? Then along with the help of Guru, which is Brihaspati, and along with the help of Vayu, he then transports that idol to a particular place. So when he's transporting it, there is a pull which is actually happening from this place in Kerala area, where there's a big Shiva temple. So those of you who've been to Guruvayur, there's a temple called Mammiyur, where Shiva Parvati temple is there. That temple has been in existence in significantly several thousands of years, and that's also going to come later during the story of Prachetas. So that temple, he gets a pull, so he goes and establishes that idol in that temple, which now becomes Guruvayur. So because Guru and Vayu help transport that idol or from Dwaraka all the way to Guruvayur, that's called Guruvayur right now. And so that idol, the Chaturbhujam idol, which is there in Guruvayur, has been there for no one knows how long. It's like hundreds and thousands of years, because it was worshipped all the way through the entire, lineage here, right? By different people in all the avatars. So very powerful idol. So that's why, so the Guruvayurappan who is there, because the personal deity of Guruvayur is called Guruvayurappan, he is nothing but Sri Krishna. There's no difference, right? It is just called Guruvayurappan because it is in that place called Guruvayur. Right? And it's a Chaturbhujam, it's with 4 hands, and we'll see some of that when Krishna Avataram happens. So the last one in terms of our class itself here, right? Like I said, 100 dashakams. So it's about 1036 stanzas, and typically it takes about 20 to 22 months to complete it. Because I go into a lot of the meaning of each of the dashakam. Every class is 90 minutes. Depending on the size of the dashakam, there are some which are big, which take about 1 class per dashakam. Later on, it will be able to do 2 dashakams per class. If the dashakams get smaller, I will have review sessions in between, so you don't lose touch. We also have multiple Parayanams coming. We already have one in Lemont for Krishna Janmashtami this year, where we'll do all the 100. Every class, like I said in the beginning, I record the class. So the recording will be made available on YouTube. So if for any reason you miss it, you can go catch up on it. I will send the MP3 recordings of each dashakam after each class, so you can then practice with it. Totally understand if you end up missing a class, but that's not an excuse to not practice. So I will, I call on students every week. I will call 2 people for review purposes to review what we learned in the previous class. And then every class, I'll pick 4 students to repeat after me for learning purposes, right? And then just let me know if you're not able to come ahead of the class, so I know I don't have to call you out, right? And I don't call your name when you're not in the class. So that is kind of the overall scope of what we are going to go through. I'll pause here and see if anybody has any quick questions. Otherwise, we'll jump into the class itself. Any question from anyone on the class?
Just a quick question. Like if we start reciting all the 100 dashakams, how long does it take to finish the 100 dashakams?
7 hours.
Oh, fantastic.
7.5 hours. So typically what we do is we start at like 8:30 with Vishnu Sahasranamam and all that 9, and then we take a break for lunch after Dashakam 51, and then we typically wrap up by like 4:30. That's a full Parayanam. But we also do half Parayanams, like what we did in Milwaukee last weekend, where we either do 1 to 51 or 51 to 100 as well, which takes half the time. Okay. All right. No other questions, then we can jump. So I'll ask, because today is the first class, I will not pick. I'll see any 2 people who want to volunteer to be the students for today.
I can do it, Guruji.
Okay. Mahi,
I can do it, Rajesh.
Lakshmi? Okay. All right. So the way we will do this is, I will. So let me another thing I want to set up front. The first 10 dashakams are hard. Okay, I'll say it upfront. It is going to be super hard. It is hard because it is hard in general. Plus, you all are learning it new. and you are getting used to my way of teaching, you are getting used to chanting it. So it is going to be hard. And if you can, and I'm setting that upfront because I don't want you to panic, but I can guarantee you this, you are my batch 10. So I've seen a lot of students. I've seen close to 175 students. Once you get through the first 10 dashakams, then it's a breeze. Okay, so you have to persist yourself. You got to not give up. You got to continue to practice it, no matter how long it takes. Pair up or team up with multiple people who that you know already from here, and you have to practice it. And once you get through the first 10 dashakams, then it gets easy. Okay, so that's the thing. So the way we will do it is I will chant a stanza, I will explain the meaning of it, then I'm going to tell you how to chant it, right? And then whoever the two students I picked, like Lakshmi and Mahi, they will repeat it two times. So that's how we will go about in the class. Okay. Okay. So we'll start with the first stanza. Sandhanandhavabodhatmakamanupamitam kaladeshavadibhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamanam aspashtam drishdamatre punarurupurushartatmakam brahmatattvam tattavad bhati sakshat guru pavanapure hanta bhagyam jananam. So it starts with the first stanza is, of course, the most powerful stanza. It first starts with what is Brahman that everybody talks about, right? Everybody talks about, that it's all one source, it's all one supreme consciousness. What is that Brahman? So it first describes that, this word, this Brahman cannot be described. So there are some things you cannot put boundaries around it, right? So if I tell you to describe you, if I have to describe myself, I can say I'm Rajesh, I live in Buffalo Grove, this is whatever. This is a specific definition for who I am. But this Brahman, you cannot describe that Brahman because it's a supreme consciousness which is beyond everything. So the only thing you can talk about is you can describe the characteristics of that Brahman. You cannot actually pinpoint and say what exactly is that Brahman. So here he starts off by telling that Brahman is anupamitam. It is beyond comparison. I can always compare and say I am shorter than somebody or I am taller than somebody. I have a relative comparison. But he says the Brahman cannot be compared to anything because there's nothing else to compare it. So that is the first one. Second, Kala Desha Vadibhyam Nirmuktam. So Kalam and Desham. So time. I am here in Buffalo Grove today. I was in Wisconsin last week. So where I am is defined at a particular point in time and a point in space as to where I am. He says the Brahman is beyond time. You cannot say, was it yesterday? You cannot say, will it be there tomorrow? You cannot ask if it is there today. It is always there. It is never not there, right? So there's no starting point. There's no ending point in terms of time. There's no specific place where it is. Is it here? Yes. Is it outside this Brahmandam? Yes. It is there in the smallest of the subatomic particle, which is actually there. At the same time, it exists beyond all of that. And we're going to go into more details of this later. So just follow me along on this. So it is beyond space. It's beyond time. It is always free of Maya and karma. Every single one of us, no exception, is bound by karma. If we were not bound by karma, we wouldn't have taken a birth here. It's very simple as that. We are bound because we all have done some good karma, some bad karma in the past births, because of which we are here right now. There's no exception. Even Brahma is bound to some extent by the karma and is also bound by the end date, right? So this Brahman is not bound by any of that stuff. It's always free. It doesn't have to do something because it's compelled to do it. It is not bound by any of that stuff. And there are thousands and thousands of Upanishads and Vedas which try to describe what this Brahman is, but still it is aspashtam, like it says here. It's aspashtam. It's not clear. People can talk hours and hours and hours on all this Brahman is, but then they still cannot pinpoint to exactly what that is. And it's very difficult to define it or even understand or contemplate because people spend births trying to understand what this Brahman is. But if you understand, eventually get to the understanding of the Brahman, then what it gives you is, it gives a Uru Purushartham. So Purushartham is like the Dharmam, Artham, Kamam, Moksham, the four things which are actually there. And the highest of that, which is Moksham, which is liberation. So understanding of that Brahman gives you that liberation. Now, If you cannot understand it, it is so hard. So Bhattacharya says, don't worry. Because in the last line it says, that Brahman, which I'm trying to define, which does not have a form, which is very difficult to grasp, but is very important to understand, Sakshat, that Brahman is standing in front of me in the form of Guru Ayurappan in Guruvayur. So when that Brahman has taken a form in the form of Guru Ayurappan and standing in front, alas, Hanta Bhagyam Jananam. Hanta means alas, no, so good. So it is a bhagyam for all these people that you don't have to worry about understanding that Brahman, because you can just see that Brahman Sakshat in front of you in Guru Ayur. So why are we not worshipping that? Right? So he says, just go worship that, because that's the Brahman taking a form and standing in front of me there. That's a beautiful first stanza, starting with the importance of the Guru Ayurappan and who that Guru Ayurappan is. All right, so now we'll go into how to say it. We'll do it two lines, because these are 4-liners. Some dashakams have only 2 lines, so these are 4-line stanzas. So, Sandhra Nandava Bodhatmakam. So for those of you who are not familiar with Sanskrit, I'm going to break the words at certain points. Okay, so when I break the words at certain points, please mark it and keep. It might sound easy now, but it'll become hard later. So break the words, you can mark it with your pencil, pen, whatever. That's why I said either print it out or you can mark in your soft copy. I'm going to say at certain places to put a comma, which means you have to pause when you're saying that, because I don't want you to pause in different places. And certain places I'll tell you to join. So I will tell you exactly what to do, but just make sure you mark it. Because if you don't mark it now, then later on, it'll be hard for you to go back. So, Sandhra Nandava Bodhatmakam, you can break at that ma, Anupamitam, comma, which means we're going to pause there. Kala Deshabadhibhyam, comma, Nirmuktam, Nityamuktam, comma, Nigama Tata Sahasrena Nirbhasyamanam. So if those words are appearing long for you, then you can just put a divider when I'm saying those words. For example, Nigama, Shatha, Sahasrena, because each of those are separate words. So you should be able to separate it out. Sandhranandavabodhatmakamanupamitam kaladeshavadhibhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigama shata sahasrena nirbhasyamanam. Lakshmi, you can start.
सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावधिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् बोधात्मकम् अनुपमितं कालदेशावधिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम्.
Yeah, Mahi, go ahead.
Yeah. सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावधिभ्यां नित्यमुक्तं निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम्. सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावधिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम्.
Next one. Aspashtam Drishtamatre, comma, Punaruru Purushartatmakam. Not break that too much. Punaruru Purushartatmakam Brahma Tattvam, comma, Tattavat Bhati Sakshat Guru Pavana Pure, comma, Hanta, another comma, because it's more like an exclamation mark. Hanta, comma, Bhagyam Jananam. And please don't mistake if I keep correcting you, which is totally fine. You can make hundreds of mistakes and I will keep correcting you hundreds of times. I won't feel bad about it. So you also don't. Aspashtam drishtamatre punaruru purushartatmakam brahma tattvam तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम्
अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम्
After hanta, pause again. Hanta bhagyam janana.
हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम्
अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरु पुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम्
In the hanta, comma again.
हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम्
Answer 2. एवं दुर्लभ्य वस्तुन्यपि सुलभतया हस्तलब्धे यदन्यत् तन्वा वाचा धिया वा भजति बत जनः रुद्रतैव स्फुटेयम् एते तावत्त्वयं तु स्थिरतरमनसा विश्वपीडापहत्यै निःशेषात्मानमेनं गुरुपवनपुराधीशमेव आश्रयामः. I forgot to tell the first Dashakam, the title is Bhagavan Mahimanu Vardhanam. So description of the glory of Bhagavan. Talks about the greatness or glory of Bhagavan, of Guru Ayyappan there. So second one continues saying that, so that Brahman, which is so difficult to comprehend, which is such a rare thing, when it is so easily accessible as Guru Ayyappan in Guruvayur, we don't put it to use. So for example, we tell our kids, that you have so much access to information. It was so hard for us when we were actually growing up, but you are not using it. You are just putting it to waste, right? When you have access to this information, why are you not putting it to proper use? So the same question he's asking here. When this Bhagavan is so easily accessible in Guru Ayur as Guru Ayyappan, why are people using their tanva, vacha, dhya? Why are they using their body, their speech, and the mind in different directions and wasting that life of theirs instead of directing that tanva, vacha, dhya, all of that towards the Bhagavan? Because they keep spending their time on all material things and not putting it to use in the proper things, because only our way out is to be able to get ourselves focusing on it to get that continuous happiness. So here he says, at least your devotees of Guru Ayyappa, all of us here, 90 minutes a week, right, on Sunday, what we will do is we'll continue to just focus only on this and not worry about other things. So that's what he's saying here. So you who's there and everybody who's manifested in the entire universe as Virat Purusha, which we'll see later, all your devotees with their minds completely dedicated to you, they do this. But everybody else is wasting their minds and thoughts and actions, not pursuing this when it is so easily available. Evam durlabhya vastunyapi, sulabhataya hasta labdhe yadanyat. It's like saying it literally is available in your hand, right? It's as if somebody is giving you something in your hand, but you refuse to take it. Hasta labdhe yadanyat, tanva vacha dhiya va bhajati bata janaha. So for those who don't follow Sanskrit, so there's this two dots that are called as visargas. So when that comes, you have to say that thing properly. So if, depending on which language you're following, when I say that word, like here, janaha. So if you're following English, make sure you have that right ha or something present there, okay? Bata janaha, kshudra taiva sputeyam. Evam durlabhya vastunyapi सुलभतया हस्तलब्धे यदन्यत् तन्वा वाचा धिया वा भजति बत जनः क्षुद्रतैव स्फुटेयम्
एवं दुर्लभ्यवस्तुन्यपि सुलभतया हस्तलब्धे यदन्यत् तन्वा वाचा धिया वा भजति बत जनः क्षुद्रतैव स्फुटेयम् एवं दुर्लभ्यवस्तुन्यपि सुलभतया हस्तलब्धे यदन्यत् तन्वा वाचा धिया वा भजति बत जनः क्षुद्रतैव स्फुटेयम्
एवं दुर्लभ्यवस्तुन्यपि सुलभतया हस्तलब्धे यदन्वत् तन्वा वाचा धिया भजति बत जनः क्षुद्रतैव स्फुटेयम्.
First line, last word, yadanyat.
यदन्यत्. Okay. यदन्यत्. एवं दुर्लभ्यवस्तुन्यपि सुलभतया हस्तलब्धे यदन्वत् तन्वा वाचा धिया वा भजति बदजनः क्षुद्रतैव स्फुटेयम्.
Again, that first line, last word, you're saying yadan vat. I'm hearing it's yadan yat.
Yadanyat. Okay.
Yes.
Yadanyat. Hastalabde yadanyat.
Yes. Ete tavadvayam tu, comma, stira tara manasa vishwa pida pahatyai, comma, nisheshatmanamenam, one word, guru pavana puradishameva. So we're going to put a comma there. If you have puradishameva has one word. So after guru pavana puradisham eva, comma, ashrayamaha. Saying I'm going to take shelter in you, right? Who's there in Guruvayur. Ethe tavadvayam tu stiratara manasa vishwapida pahatye निशेषात्मानमेनं गुरुपवनपुराधीशमेव आश्रयामः.
एते तावद्वयं तु स्थिरतरमनसा विश्वपीडापहत्यै निःशेषात्मानमेनं गुरुपवनपुराधीशमेव आश्रयामः. एते तावद्वयं तु स्थिरतरमनसा विश्वपीडापहत्यै निःशेषात्मानमेनं गुरुपवनपुराधीशमेव आश्रयामः.
एते तावद्वयं तु स्थिरतरमनसा विश्वपीडा पहत्यै निःशेषात्मानमेनं गुरुपवनपुराधीशमेव आश्रयामः. एते तावद्वयं तु स्थिरतरमनसा विश्वपीडापहत्यै निःशेषात्मानमेनं गुरुपवनपुराधीशमेव आश्रयामः.
Mahi, the third line after tavadvayam tu, there is a comma, okay? Pause there.
Tavantu. Oh.
Tavadvayam tu, yeah, after that.
Vayantu.
Sanshatri. Sattvam yattat parabhyam aparikалanato nirmalam tena tavat bhutair bhutendriyaiste vapuruti bahushah shruyate vyasavakyam tatsvachatvat yadachadita parasukachet garbhanirbhasa rupam tasmin dhanya ramante shrutimati madure sugrahe vigrahe te. So we all have a body, right? External covering. And then we'll talk a lot about all of these things later as well. So we saw the soul is kind of doesn't have a shape or a form or anything. But then we have a body which has given us a certain structure, certain form. And everything says the body is different from the soul. So what you are seeing is not my soul. You cannot see my soul, but it's different. But he says in case of the Guruvayurappan in Guruvayur, he says that's not the case. What that means is that Brahman, which is we are saying formless, and we're saying this idol I'm actually seeing in Guruvayur, which has got a certain structure, it has got a certain shape and everything. He says, unlike our body and soul being different, he says in this case it is not, because he's saying your are we. So there's three types of gunas that are there, which is the one is the pure sattva guna, which is the purity, the pure peace, clarity. Then there's rajas, which is all the desire and the passion, which causes all the activity. And then there's a tamo guna, which is the laziness and the darkness, right? We all have a combination of all these three gunas. But he says Bhagavan doesn't have any rajoguna, doesn't have any tamoguna, it's pure sattva guna. So when he's having the pure sattva guna, he says that Brahman and that idol that you're seeing are not different. It is the same thing. There is nothing that is hiding behind the idol that you cannot see, which is the ultimate truth. He says that idol itself is that Brahman. There's no separation of it. Unlike how we are saying for our body and soul, there's no difference in this case. And he says even Vyasa Bhakyam, even Vyasa and everybody, he's saying that. So he's saying that when you see that idol of Guruvayurappan, when you're seeing it, it's not just a statue. It is not just something which is made of a stone or a metal or clay of anything. It is Bhagavan itself, right? There should be no difference between all of that stuff. And then it's equally sacred and it's equally divine as Bhagavan. Sattvam yattat parabhyam. So we're going to break at that ma. We're going to put a im, comma, parabhyam, comma. Next word starts with the a. Apari kalanato nirmalam tena tavat, comma. Bhutair bhutendriyaiste vapuriti bahushaha, then a comma. Shruyate vyasa vakyam.
Rajesh, one question, sorry. Can you please repeat twice when you are chanting so that it register in our mind?
And the class will take a long time.
No. See, when you're saying the first two lines, right? If you can do it twice so that it is easy for us to memorize and then repeat after you, though we are on mute. Otherwise, we are losing that kind of pronunciation as well as the tune.
Yeah, I'll be sending the recording also, Srilata. Okay, so but that's why I say once first in the beginning also, right? So you get an idea of it. We'll see. If you need it, I'll do it twice, but we'll do it once for now and see. And that's why everybody's repeating 4 times, right? Totally. So 5 times, 6 times you get to hear it. And then, yeah, but I'll see. Maybe next class I'll try that. Okay. Sattvam yattat parabhyam अपरिकलनतो निर्मलं तेन तावत् भूतैर्भूतेन्द्रियैस्ते वपुरिति बहुशः श्रूयते व्यासवाक्यम्.
सत्वं यत्तत्पराभ्याम् अपरिकलनतो निर्मलं तेन तावत् भूतैर्भूतेन्द्रियैस्ते वपुरिति बहुशः श्रूयते व्यासवाक्यम्. सत्वं यत्तत्पराभ्याम् अपरिकलनतो निर्मलं तेन तावत् भूतैर्भूतेन्द्रियैस्ते वपुरिति बहुशः श्रूयते व्यासवाक्यम्.
सत्वं यत्तत् पराभ्याम् अपरिकलनतो निर्मलं तेन तावत् भूतेर्भूतेन्द्रियस्ते वपुरिति बहुशः श्रूयते व्यासवाक्यम्. सत्वं यत्तावत् पराभ्याम् अपरिकलनतो निर्मलं तेन तावत् भूतेन्द्रियस्ते वपुरिति बहुशः श्रूयते व्यासवाक्यम्.
First line, second word, yattat. Can you just repeat that word?
Tattvam yattat.
Yeah. Okay. That's correct. Yeah. Tat swachatvat. So if in Sanskrit, I'm looking at Sanskrit, so I'll only say based on that. I don't know Telugu script how it might be or Tamil. If you have a dia there, we are going to break it into a it and a ya. Okay. So tat swachatvat, comma. The next word will start with a ya. Yadachadita para sukha chit garbha nirbhasa rupam, comma. Tasmin dhanya ramante, comma. Shruti mati madhure sugrahe vigrahete. Tatsvachatvat yadachadita parasukachet garbha nirbhasa rupam. Tasmin dhanya ramante shrutimati madhure sugrahe vigrahete.
Tatsvachat yadyatachadita parasuka chidgar. Sorry,
That's
I don't think I got it.
that word, that second word, right? Swachatvat.
Swachatvat. Okay. Tatsvachvat
No,
yadyat
no. Swachatvat.
tatsvachatvat.
Yeah, swachatvat.
Tatsvachatvat yadyadachadita
Yadachadita.
yadachadita. Okay. Tatsvachatvat yadachadita parasuka chidgarbha nirbhasarupam tasmin dhanyaramante shrutimati madhure sugrahe vigrahete.
Fourth line, after ramante, the pause is there.
Okay. Tatsvachatvat yadachadita, right?
Yes.
Okay. परसुखचिद्गर्भनिर्भासरूपं तस्मिन् धन्यारमन्ते श्रुतिमतिमधुरे सुग्रहे विग्रहेते.
तस्वच्छत्वात् यददाद्
Yadachadita.
यदज्झादित परसुख चुदुर्ग.
No. So,
Oh
so
my
you have
God.
you separate all those words with a bar or something, right?
Okay.
Para sukha chit. Para
Parasukha
sukha chit garbha nirbhasa rupam. Each of those are separate words.
Parasukha dar
Chit
dar
garbha.
Garbha. Oh. Chigarbha nirbhasvarupam tasmin dhanye ramante shruti mati madhure sangrahe vigrahete.
Sugrahe vigrahete.
Sugrahe vigrahete. Oh my God. Third line is hard.
Yeah, some lines are hard like that, but that's why you're breaking it, right? So
Yeah.
try to put the dividers. Yeah.
Tasvachat swachat
Swachatvat.
swachatvat yada. Oh no.
Yadachadita.
Yadajhadita parasuka garbha nirbhasvarupam tasmin dhanye ramante mati madhure sangrahe vigrahete.
Sugrahe.
Sorry, sugrahe vigrahete.
Support. Nishkampe nityapurne niravhadi paramananda piyusha rupe nirli naneka mukta vali subhagatame nirmala brahma sindhau kallololasa tulyam khalu vimalataram satvamahustadhatma kasmano nishkalastvam sakala iti vachah tvatkala sveva bhuman. So, like we said, because we cannot define the Brahman, he compares it to several things. First is that of an ocean, right? When you comparing the Brahman and the ocean here, saying that the Brahman, you don't have a shape, you don't have a form, but you take different shapes and forms. So when you have the various avatarams, you then take that form of that avataram. Just like the water does not have a shape or form, wherever whichever container you put, it's going to take the shape of that container. Second, you are always full. So we say that Purnamada Purnamidam, right? Saying that it's like fire. You can always take something out of it, but it's not going to diminish because you took something out of it, right? So you're always full. We can take some water out of the ocean. The ocean is not going to deplete in capacity when we take it, right? So third is when we use the word happiness, right? The happiness is because we are attaching that happiness to something. I'm happy because I got a job. I'm happy because I got something I want, which means that when that vastu is taken away, the happiness goes away because the happiness is attached to something. He says when the Brahman is always in a state of bliss, which means that there's never a diminishing of happiness. It's always in a state of bliss, just like it's always clear, like how the water is always clear. So that's how in this case he says you're always full, you're always very clear, you're always in a state of bliss. You don't have any form or you don't have any shape. And just like how all these pearls are there in the ocean, he says all the Jeev Muktas, people who are all liberated, all of the souls are all merged with the Brahman and they are all sitting there together, right? So just comparing that to define that. And then the most important thing it says here that here he says the while every other avataram which has come from that Brahman is, there are different types of avataram. They are called as the avatarams which are Leela avataram, they're called Ansha avatarams, different things for different purposes. So in Bhagavatam it says very beautifully, it says avatarahya sankheyaha, which means asankheyaha. There's no count to the number of avatarams. We only say 10. That is because we can only keep 10 numbers in our mind. But it says the avatarams are unlimited, right? As if it is the water which is actually flowing from a tap from an unlimited supply of water source. He says there are so many avatarams, and even in Narayanam, we're going to see more than 15 avatarams of Bhagavan we are going to see in this. So there are so many avatarams which are there, but Bhagavatam says, Ete Chamsha Kala Pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He says the Krishna avataram is the avataram where it is the full potency of Bhagavan, which is actually there, which it will also come later. So anyway, it's just defining here that with this, you Brahman, by you take different avatars, you take different shapes and different forms for different purposes, each of them has a specific purpose. But the full energy and full potency of that comes through Krishna avataram. निष्कंपे नित्य पूर्णे कॉमा निरवधि परमानंद पीयूष रूपे कॉमा निर्लीनानेक मुक्तावली सुभगतमे कॉमा निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ निष्कंपे नित्यपूर्णे निरवधि परमानंद पीयूष रूपे निर्लीनानेकमुक्तावलि सुभगतमे निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ
निष्कंपे नित्यपूर्णे निरवधि परमानंद पीयूष रूपे निर्लीनानेक मुक्तावलि सुभगत में निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ निष्कंपे नित्यपूर्णे निरवधि परमानंद पीयूष रूपे निर्लीनानेक मुक्तावलि सुभगत में निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ
निष्कंपे नित्यपूर्णे निरवधि परमानंद पीयूष रूपे निर्लीनानेक मुक्तावलि सुभगत में निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ निष्कंपे नित्यपूर्णे निरवधि परमानंद पीयूष रूपे निर्लीनानेक मुक्तावलि सुभगत में निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ
Hallo Lolasa tulyam khalu bimalatam, comma, Sattvam ahus, you can break at that ma if you want. Sattvam ahus tadatma, comma. Kasmano nishkalastvam sakala iti vachaha. So if you have a is there, that is goes away. Put a visargan, comma, vachaha. Tvat kalasveva bhuman. Kalnololasatulyam khalu bimalatam satvamahustadhatma kasmanno nishkalastvam sakala iti vachaha tvatkalasveva bhuman.
Kallolasatulyam kalu vipalataram sattvam ahustadatma kasmanno nishkalastvam sakala iti vachaha tatkalasvena bhuman.
The last word, tvat. Tvat kalasveva bhuman.
Tatkalasve. Okay.
And then the third line, after vimalataram, there is a comma.
Okay. Kallolasatalyum kalu vimalataram sattvam ahustadatma kasmanno nishkalastvam sakala iti vachaha tvatkalasvena bhuman.
First word, Lakshmi. Kallolasa.
Kallololasatulyam.
Yeah.
Kallololasatulyam.
कल्लोलोल्लासतुल्यं खलु विमलतरं सत्त्वमाहुस्तदात्मा कस्मान्नो निष्कलस्त्वं सकल इति वचः त्वत्कलास्वेन भूमन्.
Last word. Tvat kalasveva bhuman.
कलास्वेन भूमन्. स्वेव भूमन्. कल्लोल्लासतुल्यं खलु विमलतरं सत्त्वमाहुस्त्वदात्मा कस्मान्नो निष्कलस्त्वं सकल इति वचः त्वत्कलास्वेन भूमन्.
Kalasveva bhuman.
Kalasveva bhuman.
And in case sometimes, the different books might have different words. If you have something different, just let me know. I'll tell you what the right thing is.
Yes.
Publication sometimes different. We'll do one more and we'll stop today. Nirvyaparopi nishkaranamaja bhajase yatkriyam ikshanakyam tenai bodheti lina prakriti rasati kalpapi kalpadi kale tasya samshuddhamamsham kamapi tamati rodhayakam satvarupam satvam dhritva dadhasi swamahima vibhava kuntha vaikuntha rupam. So, in Bhagavatam, right, the 18,000 stanzas that I keep telling about, it's only 4 stanzas. There's only 4 points to understand. But to understand those 4 points, it takes 18,000 stanzas to help us understand that, right? Because otherwise, it's just words. You have to really start feeling and understanding what that means, right? So the first one it says is, you are Aja, you are birthless, which means you cannot say, when was the first day that Bhagavan was born? Or when is the last day that Bhagavan is going to exist? There's no first or no last. It's always there. That is the fundamental principle on which everything is based, right? So there's no beginning or end there. The second thing, like we said, is we all are bound by our activities, right? We all do stuff. We have to work, we have to eat, we have to take care of things. We are all bound by our activities. However, Bhagavan is not bound. He's only a witness to everything that is actually going on. He doesn't have to actually do anything. He's not involved in any of the activities, nor does he have a desire. Second, everything we do has a motive behind it. If there is no motive behind it, we wouldn't be doing anything. So when we want to go to work, we say, I have a motive behind it. I want to make money. That's why I'm going to work. We all have a motive behind it. But everything that Bhagavan, everything that is happening, there's no motive, because the moment you have a motive, you have a desire, right? And Bhagavan cannot have a desire. So he does not have any desire. He doesn't have any motive. So when this creation is happening, which there are going to be several dashakams dedicated to how the cosmos and the creation gets formed. He says when the creation happens, it is not because you, Bhagavan, want that creation to happen. It just happens, just like how when you bring a magnet and you bring a bunch of nails together, the natural property of the magnet is that it's going to attract the nails. It's not like the magnet wants to attract the nails, or not the nails want to get pulled into the magnet. That is just the process of how things are. So similarly, that response is called as ikshana, is because your glance is triggers the process of creation of it. You don't have an intention of creating into it, and eventually everything goes back into you as well, right? So he says, because everything is from you and everything goes into you, that form of you, when we actually look at it, represents everything that is there to be known. So that's why you're saying, even though we cannot connect to something which is invisible like a Brahman, it's easy to connect to a form in the form of an idol. Because it's the same thing. That's what he's going to continue to repeat, saying that don't worry about not having to understand what Brahman is. Nirvyaparopi निष्कारणमज भजसे कॉमा यत्क्रियां ब्रेकिंग एट तत्मा यत्क्रियां ईक्षणाख्यां कॉमा तेनैवोदेति लीना कॉमा प्रकृति रसति कल्पापि कल्पादि काले. So some words are coming here, prakriti, kalpa, and all of that. I'm intentionally not getting into it right now because it's very detailed, which is going to come later. So we'll cover those at that point. निर्व्यापारोऽपि निष्कारणमज भजसे यत्क्रियाम् ईक्षणाख्याम् तेनैवोदेति लीना प्रकृतिरसति कल्पापि कल्पादिकाले.
निर्वापारोऽपि निष्कारणमज भजसे यत्क्रियाम् ईक्षणाख्याम् तेनैवोदेति लीना प्रकृतिरसति कल्पापि कल्पादिकाले. निर्वापारोऽपि निष्कारणमज भजसे यत्क्रियामीक्षणाख्याम् तेनैवोदेति लीना प्रकृतिरसति कल्पापि कल्पादिकाले.
Lakshmi, the first word, nirvyaparopi.
निर्व्यापारोऽपि. निर्व्यापारोऽपि निष्कारणमज. Okay.
निर्व्यापारोऽपि निष्कारणमज भजसे यत्क्रियाम् ईक्षणाख्याम् तेनैवोदेति लीना प्रकृतिरसतिका
प्रकृति रसति कल्पापि.
कल्पापि कल्पद्विकाले. निर्व्यापारोऽपि निष्कारणमज भजसे यत्क्रियाम् ईक्षणाख्याम् तेनैवोदेति लीना प्रकृतिरसति कल्पापि कल्पद्विकाले.
Tasyaha, if you have a visarga there, put a is to join it. Tasyas samshuddham amsham, comma, kamapi tamatirodhayakam sattvarupam, comma, sa tvam dhritva dadhasi, comma, swamahima vibhavakuntha vaikuntha rupam. तस्या संशुद्धमंशं कमपि तमतिरोधायकं सत्वरूपं सत्वं धृत्वा दधासि स्वमहिम विभवा कुण्ठ वैकुण्ठरूपम्.
तस्या संशुद्धमंसं कमपि तमतिरोधायकं सत्वरूपं सत्वं धृत्वा ददासि स्वमहिमविभावकुण्ठवैकुण्ठरूपम्.
Last line, विभवा कुण्ठ.
विभवाकुण्ठ. तस्याः संशुद्धमंशं कमपि तमतिरोधायकं सत्त्वरूपं सत्त्वं धृत्वा ददासि स्वमहिमविभावाकुण्ठवैकुण्ठरूपम् स्वमहिमविभवाकुण्ठ
तस्वा संशुद्धमंशं कमपि तमतिरोधायकं सत्त्वरूपं सत्त्वं धृत्वा दधासि स्वमहिमा विभवाकुण्ठवैकुण्ठरूपम् तस्वास्वशुद्धमंशं कमपि तमतिरोधायकं सत्त्वरूपं सत्त्वं धृत्वा दधासि स्वमहिमा विभवाकुण्ठवैकुण्ठरूपम्.
The third line, first word, tasyas samshuddham.
Tasya samsuddha.
Samshuddham amsham. Okay.
Amsham.
Okay, we'll stop here today. So at the end of the class, I will just say the first stanza after every class. At the end, I'll say the first dashakam, first stanza, I'll say and say Kayena Vacha. You can be on mute and then we'll wrap up the class. Okay. Sandhanandhavabodhatmakamanupamitam kaladheshavadibhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamanam aspashtam drishtamatre पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानां कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. Thank you, everyone. I'll send the recording and I'll send the MP3 of it. And we'll see you all next Sunday at 7 o'clock as well. Practice these 5 stanzas. The more you delay practicing, it's all going to accumulate later. So, okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rajesh
Thank
garu.
you very much.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.